Hello, this is Zahir Alam. Welcome you on Frankly Speaking. My guest today is Mohammad Capuccino. Mohammad Capuccino and her husband, Fred Capuccino, this Canadian couple, had been inspired once by the ideals and philosophy of Mahatma Gandhi and established an organization, Child Haven International. This organization is not-for-profit charity founded in 1985. They assist children and women in developing countries including Bangladesh. Those children who are in need of food, education, healthcare, shelter, clothing, emotional and moral support. Bonnie and Fred Capuccino didn't want a large family. The world was already overcrowded, so they found that the world was also full of needy kids. So with having two biological sons, they had adopted and brought up 19 boys and girls from 11 countries, including Bangladesh. Most importantly, one of 19 of Bonnie's 19 adopted children is a war baby from Bangladesh, whose biological mother was raped during the 1971 Liberation War. We welcome Mohammad Capuccino on Frankly Speaking.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining me on this show.
It's a great honor.
Mohammad, you have traveled Bangladesh many times. We are curious about the journey you have started, long years back. You got married in 1953, and since then you have been relentlessly working to support the children in need, the women in need. So what prompted you to start that journey?
Oh, I think my husband and I were both interested in working with children in various countries before we met each other. And so it just became very natural that we should continue doing so. And he had been inspired by the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi when he was in university. And he told me about why he was so inspired and what he thought was so amazing about Mahatma Gandhi. And I also became very much inspired.
Why you, started adopting kids with having two biological sons?
Yeah. Well, we had one son born to us, and then we adopted two children who were actually war babies from Japan.
Okay.
They were black Japanese. Then we had another son born to us. Then we adopted a war baby from Korea.
Okay.
And then a child from Canada who was in need of a home. And so it just carried on, one after another, one after another. As we heard of various children, we didn't go searching for the children, but we heard about various situations and responded to that need we felt.
Why specifically you focused on the war babies?
I think they are not all war babies, but war babies because of tragedy in their country came to our attention. And we knew that in many cases these children might not be accepted in their own country. And we felt, well, Canada is a good place to raise children.
How did you know about Bangladesh war
Oh,
babies?
we read about that in the newspaper in Canada. And we were told that there were many unfortunate babies being born who, as a result of the war and as a result of the atrocities that were committed during the war. We had friends from the High Commission in Canada, from Bangladesh, whose relatives were guiding us to meet various ministers. And finally we met Rob Chowdhury, and he convinced the other ministers and the government to allow these babies to go This was before the adoption law had been passed. It was before they had formal passports. So my husband had to make up passports for each baby on a piece of paper. And the order that was given by the government was that these babies be allowed to go to Canada under the adoption law about to be promulgated.
Okay.
So before there was a law, they allowed these babies. And we felt that was extremely magnanimous of this country.
And one of the babies you and Fred decided to keep in your family, own family.
That's right.
And she is Shikha.
That's
What
right.
made you think about Shikha to keep in your own family?
Oh, well, we thought she was the most beautiful baby. But each of the families who adopted these other 14 babies thought their baby was the most beautiful. I think that's how parents are. They feel their baby must be the most beautiful baby in the world.
Yeah, that's true. And how many babies, how many children you have raised
Well, so
in your family?
in our own family, 21.
21 altogether. And how many still with you right now? And your
Well, in Canada, most families don't have a joint family, so they all live on their own.
they are well settled and
Yes, yes. And we have regular family reunions at least 4 times a year. And people come and go at other times also.
so share something about the Child Haven International. How it operates and how many countries. I know that you have branches in India, Bangladesh, in Nepal. So what are the programs and activities of Child Haven International?
Well, we try to operate with a Gandhian philosophy. So that means simple living, vegetarian food, boys and girls are treated equally, nonviolence, and
Irrespective of their religious identity.
that's right, no changing of the religion is allowed. We respect each religion
Okay,
and culture of the children,
okay.
wherever they come from. That's extremely important to us.
Okay. So how many organizations, how many branches you have in India and Bangladesh?
Well, we have one in Bangladesh, one in Nepal, one in Tibet, Lhasa, and 6 in India,
Okay.
because we started in India.
Okay, watching Frankly Speaking. Mohammad Capuccino, you were talking about the your activities in different countries, including Bangladesh, India, and Nepal. So, can you share what's your future plan related to Bangladesh?
Well, in Bangladesh, we have a children's home. We don't call the homes orphanages. We call them homes because we want to have a family atmosphere. And the children are cousin brother, cousin sister.
Mm-hmm.
And we also have a small school associated with Child Haven in the same building from nursery through grade 4. And there we invite children from the community to come who might not have an opportunity for any education otherwise.
Okay.
And we try to teach them good morals as well as the educational things that children learn.
To undertake such educational programs and preventing child marriage and other other activities like aware girls and women's societal awareness, it requires a lot of funds. How do you manage? How do you meet the expenses?
Well, that's always a challenge. And we are not funded by any government. we are funded by common, ordinary people.
Okay.
Mostly people from Canada, but some from the U.S., some from other countries who happen to hear about Child Haven, and also people in the country where the home is often provide a special meal or blankets in the winter or mats to sleep on. So it's with the help of many, many, many people.
I know that apart from Shikha and apart from your 21 children, you have another daughter from Bangladesh.
Yes, that's Shimona. And Shimona is daughter number 9.
Oh, you call her daughter number 9? Okay.
Yes, yes. And she, well, it was a mutual adoption because, by love. Because we met her when she was at the High Commission in Canada.
And she's now in Brazil.
And
as
now
far as the
she's
affairs
in
of
Brazil,
Bangladesh.
and she is in charge there due to, unfortunately, the ambassador passed
Mizarul Kai's
away.
demise.
But she is now able to be an ambassador on her own. I think there are 3 stages of ambassadors or high commissioners as recognized by Bangladesh, and she is at the beginning stage, and we're so very proud of her.
That's great. That's great. And she's one of the patrons of Child Haven International.
That's right.
But what you are doing, I presume that is a huge, gigantic effort, and you have been doing relentlessly for many, many years. Definitely, there are so many obstacles, so many barriers to move forward, move ahead. I mean, what are the difficulties you have been facing in promoting these ideas, promoting this notion of supporting, children and women in the society?
Well, I think fundraising is probably one of our biggest hurdles that we have to face. So I travel to the 9 children's homes 4 times a year, and that I'm gone usually about 6.5 weeks. Then I'm home for 6.5 weeks. Then I come back for 6.5 weeks. So during the time that I'm home, my husband and I try to have fundraising events in Canada and a few in the U.S. And it's from ordinary people. It's not from corporations or wealthy people. It's people who want to share a little bit of what they have to help these children so many, many miles away.
You are watching Frankly Speaking. My guest is Mohammad Capuccino. Mohammad, share something about Fred Capuccino. How much support? You have been married for 64 years or so, and you're still madly, in love with each other. What's the chemistry? What drives you to stay together? What's the secret of the great bond?
That's a very good question. I think that somehow it just happened that we met and we had been inspired by the same desires to help people, and we enjoy each other's company. My husband has a great sense of humor, and I think that I think having a sense of humor through some of the difficulties is very, very necessary.
You both inspired by the spirit, by the ideology of Mahatma Gandhi.
Right.
But what do you see currently in the society? Do you find much people are getting seriously, compassionately involved with the ideology of supporting people in need?
I don't know. I think it's very much an individual thing. We have also been inspired by the Dalai Lama,
Okay.
and various people.
You have one home in Tibet,
That's right, but very small.
very small. You raised your children in Maxville, it's near to
Right.
Ottawa. So share something about that house, the big house.
Well, we moved to our farm in Maxville in 1974.
Okay.
And we have 100 acres, but most of it is in woods, forest, but we had enough fields that we could do a bit of small farming, make hay for the cows. We had cows, and we had some chickens, so we had milk and eggs to help feed the children. And I think if children grow up doing some physical activity
Okay.
to sustain themselves and sustain the family, they grow up with a sense of worth.
Okay.
And they realize that everybody has a role, everybody can help the family. So that is we found it was a very good place to raise our children. And the Child Haven office is actually in our house.
Okay.
And it's always very messy and very hectic, but it's a fun place to live.
You have been traveling Bangladesh for many years. How do you see the development in this country?
Well, when we first came in 1972, of course, we were in Dhaka, and that was just after the war. And the airport was very, very, very different from what it is today. And now everything is so very modern. And we do have the villages, which are wonderful, but the prosperity has obviously grown a great deal.
And in terms of child and women development, I mean, did you observe or are you experiencing much degree of progress we have made so far?
Oh, I think so. You meet many, many women who are very well educated, and there's an emphasis on education for the children. And I think the government is taking special care of girls, and the government is also anxious to help prevent child marriages.
Baniama, would you mind to share some of about your fashionable ornaments? Where,
Well,
from where did you collect?
many of these rings are in a Tibetan style,
Okay.
and many of my medallions are things I picked up or have been given in various countries where I've been. So it's a hobby, and my husband likes them.
So what's your final message to the people of Bangladesh?
Well, I think my final message would be to keep up the good work that they're doing and try to remember that there are many people in Bangladesh who are not as fortunate as they might be, and try to live together as brothers and sisters and help each other.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Baniama.
so much for
It's
having me
a
here.
fascinating conversation, very enriching
you.
and lively, very animated. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Deeply honored. Dear viewers, that's my conversation with Baniama Capuccino. We heard about her unrelenting in mission of helping poor children who is in need. She says violence, war is not an answer. Supporting people is important. They were inspired by the ideas of Mahatma Gandhi. They believe in equality of sexes, honoring of culture, religion of each children. They traveled a lot for pursuing their own dream and supporting children and women around the world. And we wish her all the best, very good health and happiness. Thank you indeed for watching this show, and we invite you to watch our next episode. Until then, do take care and goodbye.